All right, we are live, and Linda Langdon is in the house. Hey, Linda.
Linda.
Langdon is in the house, and I'm glad you're here. And for those who may come later and see who we are and see us on the screen, we have to tell you who we are. We are the Sawyers. I'm Toni, and
hello out there, everybody.
This is my sidekick, Clifton Sawyer, and I got my son in the gospel, Pastor Norman Armstrong in South Carolina.
Hey there, everybody.
Pastor J. Hewitt Edward Armstrong.
And then we were just chatting a little bit about changes which are coming. Changes. It's really something.
A whole lot of that is going on.
It's a lot of that going on. A lot of that. And I know we started this impromptu. It's been over a year now, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And our initial segments, I think, were about guidance. And now we pull the topic of living in the atmosphere of change when things just got so crazy, and we've been talking about that ever since.
Exactly.
And realizing too that change is necessary. It frees us from having to become stagnant, and it's not always easy, but it is necessary. So anyway, I'm glad we're here today. We talked to you, and Linda, let us know how you're doing, sweetie, with your puppy dog Ida.
Out there. Can they hear us okay out there?
Yeah, Linda's the only one here. So let us know if you can see and hear us clearly, Linda. I don't really know where we're going with it today, but we're going to talk a little bit. Sunday was really, really good.
Jesus told the Father, I will be talking to you as we go.
Okay.
But wherever he went, who he was going to talk to went with him. And wherever he hid, whoever was with him hid with him. So he couldn't get away from his true self. But he was too busy trying to keep in touch, but he found out that it wasn't hard to keep in touch because who he was trying to keep in touch with was himself.
Okay.
So the heart of God never break contact with the essence of every man, all men.
It cannot.
Now we fuss and fume about receiving the Holy Ghost, but the way Jesus said the Holy Ghost and the Father, we can break them into three, but we still got the same essence. So I think we ought to just take a vacation from trying to get God's attention. Really,
I like that.
Like we're talking to you, but now one of the main things that I'm picking up, I have seen. Who is this? That's the man up yonder. If he's up yonder, it's all right with me. But I've seen times I go to the liquor store when I was started out to pick up a few little shakes, you know. I didn't mean it like that. I've seen a lot of shakes here lately, and I felt embarrassed. But I said, "Who's that feeling embarrassed for going to the liquor store, just going in the door?" It hadn't be because if this thing has really got me on a roller coaster.
I see it has.
And the reason why is because I'll tell you why.
Okay, tell us why.
I've always wanted to find God, but I didn't know he was so close that I couldn't see him. And when I quit trying to find him, he found me.
Yes.
I found him, and we were standing in the same shoes.
Yes.
So I want God to tell me what size shoe he wear, and where does he live, and where can I find him. I got a little talk. I got to have a little talk with him. But then I come to find out that I'm talking to him on the air right now. I'm going to tell you something, Pastor. I see a box opening up. And in this box, there's some instructions. These instructions are maps. These instructions are the plans of the next step that Jesus is going to take through your shoes. And these shoes that are moving, I can see your awareness watching them, and you're not asking any more questions. You're just observing the feet of Jesus. He has some of the most beautiful toes in these shoes. That the ground that these shoes and feet walk on causes the most amazing, watch this now, the most amazing, beautiful flowers to spring up all around them. And he said, these flowers that come up around the feet of Jesus as you walk, they will never die. There's no death in these flowers. These flowers follow Jesus everywhere he go, and that one of the flowers that follows him and you where you go is the rose of Sharon. Glory be to God. He said, well, you can't think twice about the hair growing on your head, but just watch the growth around your feet.
I don't never put that to happen.
Yeah, don't never forget that.
I love V-ball.
and God is I don't want to overuse the word God, but there is a place where Jesus lives, and he positioned himself in a place where he could see all things from all angles. And one of the most important thing right now is God as us coming out from hiding. He's not hiding from us anymore. There's a lot of preachers, a lot of speakers that are coming on air. I just looking at on YouTube that don't believe that God exists, and that all this Christian religious stuff is false. I look at them and I try to say, I'm trying to say, wait. If you can wait till your contract is up, you'll find him, but I don't want you to miss him. Now we're saying that God's maps are in your feet. And the walk of the Spirit is the walk of waking up from the sleep. That you're no longer, and I'm going to tell you something. Once this happened, you don't have very much to say to God except for what has been in a conversation of prayer or conversation of talking, such as good morning. And if there's not anything to talk about, just watch, observe. I got a sense that something is getting ready to come up out of the water of eternal life, and the waves of the presence of God is rearranging some very intricate, important things in this situation that you're in. And it's going to, I see a word, it's going to impromptu itself into the manifestation of wisdom. I used that word up there.
I know you did.
I don't know what it means, but I thought I'd use it.
It means not planned, on the spur of the moment. And so I understand that. Yes, I understand that.
I do too.
Now, I went to the doctor yesterday, and she said that surgery that they did on my shoulder was a little more severe than what I thought. It tore loose a tendon or two, and he had to tie it back. So I get the idea that every time I raise my hand like that, my britches leg gonna go up. So,
but on a positive note, he's moving better than most people who've had that surgery. So
Yeah, I can do things with my arm
they were
that he said
surprised
I'm not
about.
normally supposed to do.
Yeah, they were surprised about it, and actually had his first physical therapy session yesterday and was doing very, very well. So I'm pleased with the way things are going.
Keep your eyes on the number 10.
Number 10.
10, the number 10.
Mhm.
Don't say that.
Don't say it. Why?
Because that's the number I came up with on yesterday.
How'd you come up with that?
I promise you.
Now you got to let us in on it because everybody's listening. Like, what is he talking about? What's he talking about?
Oh wow. Okay. And this be put out. I'll try to keep some things kind of secret, but
10 steps, 10 gallons of gas, and 10% discounts, and 10 feet in front of your face, 10 steps, 10 moves of insight, 10 ways of looking at it. That's it. 10 ways of looking at this whole thing will cause you to see why. Okay. He said, watch the 10 steps on the floor you're walking. There may be some cracks in this concrete.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I'm saying. I just thought I just mentioned that number 10.
Okay, so without disclosing every detail of what's going on with you personally, give us why the 10 meant something to you.
It's actually the number 10 is an acronym for the new move that is about to be birthed. I'll say it this way, and it's the death of one thing and the birth of something else.
Yes.
From 1 to 0.
Yes.
And the acronym that I came up for the next movement actually spells out the word 10.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we pretty much talked about this when you was helping me with the YouTube channel.
Okay.
So it's funny because another person that I was talking to kind of said the exact same thing, that they heard it was going to be a death of one thing and a birth of something else. And I was actually behind the wheel of my car. I wanted to jump out my car and run. But it is the acronym for something that I am about to begin.
Okay.
Give birth.
Very good. Glad you tapped into that. I'm glad you tapped into that. I want to just mention what Linda says here, which is really good. She said, once you realize God is not outside of you, how do you pray and to whom? Now I pray to that which loves me. And Linda, I call that, and I heard somebody say it on YouTube yesterday, cognitive dissonance. That's called cognitive dissonance, where you're holding the belief. We usually hold the belief that God is outside of us and other, and at the same time inside of us as us, and that is a dichotomy. It's a paradox. And cognitive dissonance is when you don't really know how to pray at that time because of that change of seeing. For me, one of the most crucial times for me as far as prayer is concerned is when I begin to realize that there are times when God will not intervene or interfere. And the reason for that is because in my sacred charts, in your sacred charts, there are certain things that we must go through and navigate, not so much just go through, but navigate and learn our own dominion power in the sense of
Dr. Strange on
Don't talk about
movies always use fire as a door into another dimension. The fire will burn away all of the false seals, false hidden the false atmosphere around you. So he said, whichever way you turn, you cannot miss God, because he's constantly burning up everything that's trying to hide himself from.
That's trying to veil him.
Yeah. The veil is seeing Christ as your true self, is the fire that burns up everything that hides him. I don't know what I'm saying. Okay. But anyway, I kept seeing Dr. String when he did his hand like that, opening came into the presence around, and he could move from one dimension to another. God said, I want you to get on this boat of allowing, let go, and relaxing, and go through these fires and watch how the fire, one of the most amazing things I learned about helioc welders is that the flame is turned to blue. That blue flame can weld something. The blue flame is also oil that comes out of a locust tree. And when you turn if you were welding with a helioc welder and turn your head to the side, it would actually, the heat would suntan your neck. The heat is just that, so you can't look at it. So what God did as a consuming fire, that's what I wanted to say. As a consuming fire, we are consuming everything in the path of our journeyless journey that has now been burned up to clear out the way we can see God without any hesitation. God is revealing himself to us in this now moment of what it is like to walk the waters with a much lighter consciousness and a lighter awareness of the presence that is his steps in us. I see the legs of God, the legs of Jesus walking, and his legs are saying, we have walked this path many, many times. And if you pay attention to the way it is, the steps are relaxed. They are not struggling. They are what they call that, watching each step. It's an Eastern word that says
mindfulness.
The steps of Jesus is walking mindfulness, but I'm going to say it like this. His steps are heartfulness. Heartfulness. I see something coming to you that has something to do with permission to go in and out of hospital doors with a special code that's unraveling the mystery of how to walk beyond the veil. And he's saying, with the number 10, I'm going to show you how to split it from top to bottom. And then turn around, and that is trying to sew it up from the bottom to top, stop it on both sides. He said he's removing the guards from either side of the veil of the temple, so that when you stand in front of it, you go in and out of it in consciousness until you finally get locked into it, where you'll never leave that presence again. So that means there's some adjustment going on right now that's out of the range of natural understanding that can only be comprehended by divine order and footsteps of God in your shoes. Mm-hmm. I don't know what I'm saying. I just sense that.
I do.
Okay, I do.
Honestly, I do.
Okay.
Even when you mention concerning a special thing given concerning going to hospitals or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm and I've revealed it a lot, but I've been asked to go into the chaplaincy. And so even as I've been wrestling with the idea of going back into the state guard, which is different from the National Guard, The State Guard, anyone could join. Really, you don't even have to have any military experience. But the military has been one of the areas that I kind of miss, and so they have a program that I've been researching, dealing with chaplaincy, and so there's a need. And then also my wife, in a situation that happened with an individual on their job, a police officer was talking to her, and come to find out they need. So I've been talking a lot about going into the chaplaincy, a whole lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
So that's what
the
happened.
the heart of God
Hmm.
is the initial awakening to truth. When you choose to see the truth, that comes to visit, and that is visited upon, is an indication of your seeing opening up to where you're no longer going to look at these people like you used to. And that's one of the hardest changes to go through when you've been into religion and evangelical type of spirituality. It's hard to see God in everything because, okay, here goes.
Because you're looking through that lens.
Yeah. And he said, in order to see God in everything, you have to be willing to forgive the big lie that is trying to cover him up.
Yeah. And the lens of evangelical Christianity is a lens that has been very narrow-minded. A lot of us coming through that particular circle have really struggled to let go of the language of separation, the thinking of separation, in the sense that God is always someone to respond to me or interact with me. And when we drop the lens of evangelical Christianity, there is no other to interact. So that's when we begin to move into a realm where guidance is now undetectable. It's not something I am being told to do or not do, but as I move and my feet are moving, I begin to realize my feet are the feet of God, and that the directions that I take, and what is, I won't say it's a problem, but where there's a concern is when we are so identified with our conditionings that we then make decisions from those conditionings, and then find ourselves in situations that we need rescuing from. And then that's when we find God will not interfere or intervene, because we must learn from our own, I won't say our own mistakes. We will learn from our own
experiences.
Well, I'm looking for a word. I don't know if it exists, because what I'm seeing is we get lost in our conditionings, make decisions from those conditionings and the fears, the beliefs, all of those things, and then we try to pull out of it, and we want God to pull us out, but then we have to pull. This is where we have to deliver ourselves out of that, because now we're at a stage of maturity. And maturity dictates I must find my way out of my own self-made dramas. Does that make any sense? Does that make sense? Because I must take responsibility for what I have miscreated.
Right. In my teaching last night, I was sharing with the people that, and it goes back to even when you mentioned about prayer. I don't think we really had the real concept of prayer as it was first introduced to us, because it's been taught to us like if we're in trouble or we need something, it's always about asking God for something or asking God. And I come to understand that prayer is more of you having a conversation, not just with God, but having a conversation with yourself. It's another form of worship. And again, true worship is when we begin to take on the attributes of that thing that we hold in high regard. And so I shared last night, as all these things that's going on in our world today and even in our individual lives, but so much outside is really having an effect on our individual lives. As we talk about the living in the atmosphere of change, we've been keep saying over and over and over again, God is the answer. God is the answer. He's the answer, the solution to all things. And then I come to realize God is not the answer. We're the answer.
Mm-hmm.
And so
that we are is God. That's where the dichotomy is. That's where the paradox is.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And see, that's why on Tuesday when I put up binary language, and the word binary means separate, that is the struggle of us trying to live in two different dimensions.
Mm-hmm. The paradox.
Because like with Dad, a lot of people, and we talked about this before, because he's a mystic, people that don't operate or never actually allow themselves, because they are there, but they have not allowed themselves to experience that realm. And so because he's been there so long, he's learned the language. And so now as he's trying to explain experiences, it's hard for people to understand that. And so he finds himself in using like binary codes to try to explain what he happened. And Paul had that same experience in 2 Corinthians chapter 12 when he said, I was caught up into a third heaven.
Yeah.
And he said all the things that I heard, it was not lawful for him to share. And it was because he did not know how.
Yeah.
Because he kept saying, I don't know if I was caught up or if I was in the body, out of body, I don't know. All I know it happened.
Yeah.
I see Jesus' mother standing by Gwen's daughter, or your daughter, stepdaughter. And I see the immaculate heart of the Christ heart around her, and she is expressing her mother compassion to. Okay, she said the numbers are coming out. It's like case settled. Things changed. Wheels are turning. They are now being renewed, and peace comes with it. I don't understand what he's saying, but I know I hear this. And there is I see the daughter, the girl, riding on a horse-driven chariot, and the horse is white, and they came from a farm of Clydesdales, the heavy working horse. The works that I do, you shall do. But it's work. It's the workhorse. And God said with her, I'm working something into her character that has been delayed. And the reason why it's been delayed is because there's a miracle of seeing in her life that's opening up to her. That's what he's saying. Yeah, that's what he's saying. And she is in a transition, and she's going to see a pretty light come through if she'll stay calm, stay out of trouble, and keep her nose clean, and look for the blue light of rest. She's tired. The girl is tired, and she needs to rest. I don't know what that means, but I just thought, I know Gwen is on here, but I want that to be heard, because as we come into awareness of our true identity, the sleeping state automatically removes itself so that discernment can become more simple and easy to walk in. Yeah, that's it. That's it.
It's because I was trying to decipher which one, because she actually has two daughters.
Okay.
I was trying to decipher which one, but I'm gonna show you how funny the universe is.
Mm-hmm.
It amazed me that you began to I have uh, a revelation or insight concerning her when I mentioned the word binary, and the
Okay.
re- and
That's
the
what
reason
I
why
heard.
that is funny to me is because she is a math instructor. Her language is mathematics.
Oh,
Um, there
okay.
would be times where I would be preaching or teaching, and she would get an understanding of it through mathematics. She is a
Oh,
mathematic whiz,
yeah.
literally.
Wow.
She's currently a mathematical instructor at a school, a
I heard
military
that.
school in Columbia, South Carolina.
I
And
heard that.
so it shocked me that she immediately came up in your spirit when I mentioned the word binary, because she has very clear understanding concerning that.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
She
Uh,
she don't know it, and I could say this on the screen. I have no problem because we've discussed this before. Um it's funny, my own kids. When I left, me and Gwen had to go somewhere. I can't remember where we was at, but I had left Tam to minister at the church during that time. And my son Chris, he started reaching out to me and calling me, and he said, "Dad, I'm gonna be honest with you. You would think that Tam was your biological daughter, because she ministered exactly like you." And the reason why I said that is because I don't know if Tam knows, and she may be watching. I know Gwen is watching right now, but
Mm-hmm.
and it's funny that she put wheels turning because the number 10 actually represents the wheels of fortune, or it deals with change, growth, and again new beginnings. But Tam is a mystic as well, and I don't think she really realized that. She does. She gets these things like this, I'll say, like this clan,
Mm-hmm.
so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
and everything comes to her in numbers. All the meanings and everything comes to her in numbers, and so she is dealing with a situation that you probably just brought light to, that is going to work out in her favor.
that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. I wanted to mention a couple of our comments. Oliver's joined us. Hey, Oliver, I'm glad you're here. He says it comes from I comes from the awareness that we have built a defensive against the truth. And I think he's speaking in regard to what we were talking about, how that this binary language coming out of this separatist talk and separatist thinking,
Mm-hmm.
that awareness. And I had written here that continuous God awareness is on a different level of experience than the reflecting, remembering, and thinking mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's on a different, it's in a different level of experience. Oliver also says it comes from the awareness that we built a defensive against the truth. We become conscious that we have erected blocks to the awareness of our reality of love. And that's the truth. Yes.
And out of
Yes.
the number 10, all numbers, even staffs and music keys and notes are involved in that too.
And Gwen also said that's been her only number. She wanted to wear all sports she played the number 10.
Wow.
She was the number 10 playing basketball, all of that. And so that's why I
Mhm.
said this is weird to me, for well, weird in a good place. Uh
Mhm.
that number came to me on yesterday, and then you said it today, which shows, and I hope people could understand it, because I don't believe in haphazard events. Um it not Everything is connected, and so for me to have that thought and that number have an effect on me yesterday, and then Dad brings that number up today, that is not by chance. That's not
That's
by
right.
That was orchestrated. And so what I believe Father is trying to get us to understand is to tap into the essence of who we really are, which is the only thing that's constant. It doesn't change.
Exactly. Exactly.
And
It
so
is.
we're learning the language somehow through the Spirit of God, that we call the Holy Spirit, who I feel as though he is translating for us right now, for us to understand the messages that God is trying to download to us in this time of awakening. And I could use the word because it has to do with the number 10.
You
What
know,
I'm
yeah.
getting
I
ready
want you want to cut you off. Go ahead.
what I'm getting ready to bring forth is something that you and I talked about, Mom, dealing with the word emerge. And so I came up with the number 10 because I'm going to create something called the Emerge Network.
Okay.
So pretty much that is what I'm about to introduce when I do the new broadcast, helping people to come forth into the reality of who they really are.
Good. Now I wanted to say this, and that in that time when God is not, I should say, at the forefront, when you're going through a particular situation and you're trying to navigate through it, there may not be any words spoken to you from God as an other. There may not be any detectable guidance, but there will always be evidence that God is going through it with you as you. There will always be evidence. And I think this number 10, Dad saying that to you, that's God saying, I'm in it with you. I'm in this with you. And so that always comes as Spirit comforts us. That's how God lets us know that love has us. Love has us, and that we're okay. We're gonna be okay, and we are okay. But learning to live in this realm of non-separation is a learning experience for the mind, because the mind is only used to separation. We live our whole life. If you go up in a plane and look down at the land, it looks like it's been squared off in different sections, and that's how we live. Everybody has their section. We have invisible lines. And so we have not known what it means to be one, what it means to be same. And love really means sameness. Because one of the reasons that Dad picked it up, what he said intuitively, isn't so much that somebody spoke it to him. It wasn't so much it came to him from some outside inspiration, but it was he's there as you, in it with you. Same as. Love is same as. And so this kind of living is totally foreign to most of us little human beings. It's totally foreign.
Exactly. And that's the journey. When Dad began earlier as he was talking, it reminded me of and I don't know if anyone is a Trekkie, but I'm a Trekkie. I love Star Trek. But there was a Star Trek movie called The Wrath of Khan.
Yeah, I remember.
And in the movie, he was on a journey. He was hijacking the Starship Enterprise because he was on a journey to discover God, and that's what Dad was talking about. He always wanted to find God, and so that's what Khan wanted to do. He wanted to find God, and when they finally got to the place where they believed that God was, there was an orb there.
Yeah.
And he's looking into the orb. What happens was the orb reveals his face.
Yes.
And that's was showing that we are, and that was the crazy thing about the whole thing. Anyone who was looking in that orb, it was revealing back to them the reflection that you are what you was looking for.
Yes, yes.
And the mind of Khan could not handle it.
Yes.
So all the while he was searching all that time, who and what he was searching for was him all the while.
Yes.
Go back and look over where you stopped in grant procedures.
Oh my God. Okay, Dad, you all in it today.
Go back and look over the grants and pick out something by intuition, because there is something. Okay, here it is. I invested into your essence this round of evolution a door and a doorpost that is measuring in the numbers 10. And I see the doorpost, and you standing looking at it on both sides and up. And we call the doorpost the weight-bearing unit.
Mhm.
The weight-bearing unit is the fifth wheel of the fifth position of the number 10. He said this position is the fifth wheel on a tractor and trailer that causes the tractor to hook up to the trailer to pull. But he said, I want you to understand that there are traction motors that are inside your vehicle that's pushing and pulling at the same time. But he said, relax and watch this weight-bearing unit support more. But I see you standing in the building again, and this building you're standing in is got to have something done to the doorpost.
Mm-hmm.
I don't quite understand it, but I'm just saying that there's a mystical thing behind why this is like it is.
Yeah.
And it will unfold itself.
Mhm.
But there's a word that he says that he wants you to get used to saying it. And that is two words. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And when you say that, your infinite eternal self will show you when it, and you hear it and perceive, it'll say, you're welcome.
Mm-hmm.
That's the worship of God by saying thank you.
Mm-hmm.
He said, thank you for everything. Thank you. Because Jesus is your doctor. He writes all of your prescriptions. He brings all your medicine to your room. And then you come back on the end and say, come on in the room. Come on in the room. Jesus is my doctor. He writes all my prescription. He brings me all of my medicine in my room.
All right, now I'm going to have to bring y'all down here.
I got it.
Y'all can be my praise
Praise team. Oh my goodness.
But Dad, everything that you said makes sense to me because I've been talking about pillars as well, the 7 pillars of society, and so that made sense to me.
Yes, yes.
He said, go to the street corner, the edge, measure your distance from the edge and to where you're going to place the sidewalk. How long do you want to walk like this? How long do you want your walkway to reach from the corner to the place whereby in which you shall start a new foundation?
We got some comments.
Yes, go ahead.
And I don't know if you're hanging in there with us today, but I hope you are. Snett says, hello, John. And when we turn around going home from searching, awareness was always there, being awareness.
Yes.
And then Linda chimes in saying, love is the recognition of our oneness.
Yes.
Knowing that others experience the same sense of I am that I experience is our shared being. The Christ as us. That's good. That's good, you guys. Thank you so much.
I love what Linda said because that is the challenge that's happening in our world today, especially in our government.
Yes, yes.
They are not because they are not walking in the essence of love. They're having a hard time coming together as one, literally. And so I shared that last night when you walk in separatism. Again, trying to highlight, in this case, their different political agendas. There's going to be division. And when there's division, it breeds competition. And where there's competition, it could become very confusing. And then with confusion comes chaos. And that is what we're experiencing right now. Because they refuse to drop all these different ideologies and just come into harmony as one, as you've been hearing people say over and over and over. they use the word dealing with the inner intuitiveness that we have. They use the word common sense. Just make literal common sense. We could come from two different backgrounds, two different environments, two different cultures, but there's something innate in us that really tell us this is what needs to be done.
Yes, and if we go back to spiritual causes, if we live by the law of cause and effect, which we really don't live by, but if we go to the law of cause and effect, there are things happening because of other things. And so in our neighborhood right now, in our neighborhood, I have to give you a description. Norma's been here, so he knows. It's kind of like living in the park. Everybody walks, they bicycle, people, it's just like a park, and everybody's got dogs and so it's a very peaceful place. And that's the one thing that's kept us from selling our house, because we love the neighborhood. But in our neighborhood right now, there's been some violations, people breaking into cars just of late. And all of us it's in the buzz is in all of the neighbors. We're all talking about it.
Wow.
And in our block, just this block that we live in, all of the street lights are out, and we got to call the people and let them know about it. But all of the street lights are out, and we don't have overhead lights with wires. They all are in the ground. So I'm not sure what's going on with that. But I thought about this. It gave me an understanding that since the lights were out, now we're putting our lights on outside the house. So we're lighting the houses up more. So if anyone has the idea of coming in and doing anything mischievous, they would be deterred by the light. My reason for saying that is this: the problem with the society, our world, and all of the things that are happening is not that we need to make changes in the government and the laws, but the problem is the absence of light. Evil has no place when there's light, because light exposes everything.
Exactly.
And so we as the light, there's not enough light coming from us as people, as beings. And so what we're seeing is there's very little light shining in the government, very little light. And so that means there's very few that are awakened and walking in enlightenment. So these messages are crucial. It may seem like, because we're not talking to millions, we're not talking to a crowd of thousands, but if one person, just think about it, Jesus was one person. Look how much light he brought into the world. So it's that we need to wake up to who we are and know who we are and walk in that oneness and not separation. And what's causing the problem is the separation.
Exactly.
So if our job of bringing people to the awareness of who they are is very, very important.
You have to stay focused on essence.
Yes.
Expound, explore, and investigate essence and the full impact of eternal life and the walk of the Spirit are connected. The walk of the Spirit is not walking a certain way. You may walk with a long time ago, people called, you may walk with a gimp. Jacob received a gimp because he was determined to walk the ladder and the steps that was laid before him. Move the universe to its pure revolving and evolution in your life by deliberately operating from your true essence.
Yes. And Oliver says our voice is very relevant, and we are the voice of God walking. And that's
In the garden.
That's what
right.
we have. We forget ourselves. We are the voice of God walking.
And that's funny because I've used that a lot here recently, even as I share. Of course, I want to make sure that whatever I'm sharing at that time in ministry is relevant to what's going on in people's lives right now. That's why this particular theme, living in the environment of change, is that's what's happening. And so everything that we're sharing is so relevant. And it was very key when you said, Ma, concerning light, the there's no light right now in the government and so forth, and that's why so much stuff is chaotic. But that was Jesus' statement. He said, told the disciples, "You are the light of the world." And so what's we experiencing is people false identities or the ego. There's egos that's at war with one another and opposing one another. And if they would just drop that and enter to the light, then they would see it come together and it would be a very harmonious transition.
Yes, and evil is not. It is not an entity of itself. It's the absence of light.
Exactly.
I want to mention what Sinette said. She said, yes, due to our original beliefs that our awareness is limited to our bodies, looking out the windows of our car, but awareness is always observing our body, being awareness, not changeable, looking at the cars in the street coming and going. Yes, and that's so we forget that we're that's seeing and begin to think that we're a part of that we're seeing. And you're so right. We have limited ourselves only to our bodies because of our not understanding who we are and what we are.
You're going to hear something about the electrical inspection. You're going to hear something about the electrical inspection plugs. You'll hear something about electrical inspection to pass or qualify. Electrical inspection lights. Electrical inspection research and investigating into blueprints, wiring codes, electrical. It's going to cost somebody some money if it's not favor. But God said, I want you to understand you are not forsaken because of this. He said, I got a ram in the bush. I told Abraham to put him on the altar, and then I stopped him. Hold on to that. I'm not saying he will give you that or release that or hold it back, but it's time for somebody to sit still and watch God's number unfold itself. Okay? And it said, always remember to say, regardless of whatever come up, thank you. Okay.
And I believe that's for the people that basically own, because like I said, I got information concerning the inspection, so that could be part of that. Yep.
But I'm glad to hear from you. I'm glad to know that you're doing, and all you other guys out there, you guys are jumping on that today.
Yeah, Dad's kind of centered in on Norman today, so bear with us. He's really centered in on Norman today, and we feel him and we're with him in this thing. But in the process, I hope you're getting something out of all of the things we're saying. We definitely want to be the light that shines in this darkness, to dispel this darkness. And that what you're dealing with personally, Pastor Norman, is that same kind of darkness. There's the absence of light. Had there been more light there, that whole situation would have been different. But I do believe, I just really in my gut believe that this situation that came up with you regarding the location that you're in, I do believe that it is to bring something else up out of you. That was there all the time, but it's got to come out. And this causing it to come out.
Hmm. Well, I can confirm that. It's funny. And I could be transparent. It's no big deal. It's no so
Yeah.
this may help someone else. And so in sharing with my congregation on Sunday after the message, and I know we on social media, no big deal.
Yeah.
Um it's funny how dad said that, as you begin to speak, you don't know what you're going to say, but God going to start saying stuff or whatever.
Mhm.
So when he was saying that, I thought about when Jesus told the disciples that when he sent them out, don't take no script with you, whatever. The Spirit will reveal what needs to be said at that time. Well, of course, again, we are in a body, which the combination caused us to have emotions and feelings. The soulish are part of us. So, of course, when it happened, I felt a certain way,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
not only with me, but others as well.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the first thought that we want to deal with is that thought of failure. All right,
Yeah.
especially when you are a leader or you're the leader of a movement. And I knew that not to be true. I knew that not to be true. But again, that's that conditioned mind. And
Yes.
so as I was sharing with the congregation, it hit me again, and even based off of your poem that you read last Thursday, that I knew that was for me. Um, and then I was reminded through you reading the message or reading a poem, the title of the message. And again, it's when God was telling Moses and the children of Israel, Deuteronomy chapter 1, and I could give the people the exact scripture. It was verse 6. The Lord God spake unto us in Horeb, saying, Ye have dwelt long enough in this mount. Turn you and take your journey and go to the mount of the Amorites and unto all the places nigh thereunto. Basically, he was telling them to go to Canaan. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was considered a promised land. So now, if we will look in the light of what all has been shared to us, Father wanted us to know this was not our resting place. This was not our final
Yes.
destination.
Yes.
Right. And what I heard in the spirit Sunday as I was speaking to the people, sometimes God allows things like this to happen because we got too complacent. We built all of our hopes and dreams in this one location where this is not the final destination. And
Mm-hmm.
so what we end up doing, we built a memorial here. And that's why I tell people when we hear the Isaiah say, remember not the former things, nor the things of old, for behold, God is going to do a new thing. Every time we teach that or preach that, we always trying to encourage people who's dealing with difficult times. And so
Mm-hmm.
what
Mm-hmm.
we're really saying is remember not the bad things, but that's not what Isaiah said. He
Mm-hmm.
said, remember not the former things. That
Former.
he didn't make reference to bad or good. He was just
Exactly.
pretty much saying, forget about everything in the past. Don't think about it. Don't recall on it. And I think we as a body, we was guilty of that because we have at 222 White Street, we had some phenomenal
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Um, eye-opening, mind-boggling, experience here, but we lost sight that this was not our final destination.
Yes.
So I
Yes.
see where we got complacent, and I
Mhm.
myself got complacent. All right. I got too comfortable.
And
And so,
I think too, Pastor Norman, that what happens, we all do that when you move into a new house, it takes a while for you to acclimate to that house for it to feel like home. And
mm,
so what happens when you stay in a particular spot for so long and you have all of these different experiences, good experiences, bad experiences, all kinds of experiences, that place becomes home. And
mm,
so there's a personal attachment to it. But in order for the vision that God has birthed inside of you to expand, there has to be a detachment of that is now feeling like home. So I want to read this poem to you again.
mm,
And this poem, for those of you who didn't know, was written because of Pastor Norman. The last time he ministered at to our congregation when we were in the brick and mortar. And this was inspired while he was preaching. I wrote it, but he inspired it. So he was the muse for this. And it's actually for him and for you guys. And it's called Stay the Course. On your way home to your destined place, you must not stop here and dwell. Got to free yourself from the past. Got to leave this self-made hell. We're passing through this learning space on our way home where there is bliss. You cannot pitch your tent here or your destiny will be missed. Sometimes the course seems threatening. Home feels far away. And if you get too comfortable here, you will forget, and here you'll have to stay. You must discover the greater one who lives within, who is strengthening you to overcome and revealing that the place you're desperately looking for is right where you're looking from. Stay the course.
Mm-hmm. And everything I just said is in that poem.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
And you preached it. You preached it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
so it's now you're living it.
Exactly. And that's what I explained to my congregation. It amazes me that some of them, and I didn't even know, because I know whatever I'm teaching, it is very strategic. All right. I'm not the type of person that just want to share, get the people hyped up. Everything that I share is strategic. And I didn't understand until this incident happened that when I reflect back all the things that I was teaching and preaching, it was preparing me for this moment. And I would say this.
If you're in a relation to your spiritual dad, then you're about 5 to 6, maybe 10 years ahead of where you're actually going to, where most people are and where you are in your thinking and in your looking. As a mystic, you're ahead of the times. And not a lot of times we speak things that we don't realize what we're speaking until we start to see it come into fruition. So yes, that was your message, and it is your message to you now today and your congregation.
Exactly.
Use the look of God in your face and through your eyes to see all things clearer. Salvation is supposed to be clearing up the vision, your depth perception, and your insight. So, except the man be born again, he cannot see. Except the man understand the birthing of his true identity, he can't see the truth, because blocks and road markers and speed bumps are designed to stop you from seeing.
Yeah, I just heard something when you said that. If a man or woman, child or whatever, does not see, they are not born again.
Say again, Mom.
If they do not see, they're not born again.
One of the first things that affected me when I had that out of body experience 50 years ago, the main thing that affected me was the way I saw things. My vision changed.
But all it was, you said it, and when you said it, I said, if they don't see, they can't be born again.
That's the reason why when a blind person leaves their body to go on the other side, the first thing they notice is they can see.
Exactly.
So now this is the thing. Our seeing doesn't always come once and for all, and that's it done. It's a consistent, constant seeing, and it's not just seeing, it's a clear seeing of the way things really are.
And that's enlightenment.
Yes.
Wow.
Why do I see ditch diggers and route markers and the changing of the name of the street in that building? I'm seeing water flooding and ditches being dug out on the side somehow or another for the water to flow, because it's staggering somewhere and it's affecting the foundation of that building.
I do know that the front part of this church does, when it rains, it holds water.
Oh gosh.
But the other thing you could be picking up in this area, a lot of that is going on, whole lot. There's a serious migration coming in our area, and so anywhere you go, you go see that happening, the
Integration.
signs, I mean, all over our area, it is exploding.
I even
Okay,
see the
okay.
change the names of streets.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and you mentioned that before.
That's a code to me though. That's a code to me about an area I need to investigate.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I tell you guys, we have been on here for more than an hour, and it seems like it's just 5 minutes because we've been. It was just.
Yeah, we have.
I love these talks. I love these talks. Linda says, "I am not of this world." Oh, what a relief it is! Yes, yes.
I like that.
Yes. And Oliver says, "Real seeing is recognition." Exactly. Recognizing. Exactly. That's good. Well, look, guys, we've got to tune out, but we love you coming in to hear us, and I hope you got something out of it. We'll be back, and we will be back, the two of us, on Sunday at 10 with Cornerstone, and Pastor Norm will be back on Sunday
at 11 a.m.
11 with Bold.
Yes.
And we love you guys and hope to see you soon. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.